happens when you're having fun, I guess. So we got lots to talk about in terms of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Got a bunch of questions, live questions. If you're watching this on recording later, make sure you join me in a future live Q&A if you've got any questions. We're coming towards the end of the year, so here's when a lot of people start making mistakes. If you want to start your Social Security, Medicare, this time of the year. So I'm going to be doing a future video on that. But today, all right, let's go down the list. So we want to get to as much stuff as we possibly can. There's some misinformation, number one, out there about HSAs. Those are those health savings accounts that if you're currently, working and you have health insurance, you have you picked a particular policy, healthcare plan at work that has a health savings account. So basically it's a tax deduction from the IRS. And when you sign, if you're turning 65 and you want to go ahead and sign up for Part A, you have to stop contributing to that 6 months before. And there's some misinformation out there that the big beautiful bill got away with that, deleted that. It's not the fact. An earlier version of the big beautiful bill took that out, but the one that was actually signed and put into law, it wasn't in there. So if you're going to be signing up for Part A, Medicare Part A, then you have to stop contributing to the HSA 6 months before. And this is something that Social Security employees won't tell you because they're not IRS people. HSA, the only reason it's an issue is because the IRS gives you a deduction for how much you pay in there. So it's not a Social Security issue. That's why if you go into Social Security and sign up for Part A, they'll sign you up for Part A. They don't care about all the other stuff because that's between you and the IRS. So a lot of people make that mistake and then they get in a jam with the IRS. So nothing has changed, basically. Okay, one thing that definitely has changed, or you're going to get notification that it's changed, a lot of people, is called the ANOC. It's the Annual Notice of Change. And it's sent by your Part D prescription drug plan or your Medicare Advantage plan. And you have to get it by September 30th. These companies are supposed to send it out to you by September 30th so you can check what your plan is, because your current Medicare Advantage plan disappears December 31st at midnight. So your current plan is gone. They will automatically renew the plan you have this year, but everything under the hood could very well change. So you might have the same card next year, the same company, the same doctors, the same prescriptions and all that kind of stuff, but you might actually lose your doctor because they might, that doctor might not be a network anymore, or they might start charging you more for prescriptions or more for your specialist or more for a hospital, or give you less dental, less vision. So starting January 1st, everything that you thought you had right now could very well change. And that CMS, the government, mandates those Medicare Advantage plans to send you all of that by the end of September so you can decide whether you want to keep that new plan that they're going to enroll you in automatically is January 1st, or whether you want to find another plan. So that's why it's important to check, make sure, social. How do you check your update your address? You just update it with Social Security. You call Social Security, go online to mysocialsecurity.gov, you update your address, and that notifies Medicare of your address as well, and then everybody else. So to make sure you get that. If you don't get that, you really need to review your plan. And I'll give you the phone number for the company that I recommend that we work with that will help you go through it and make sure you're getting everything you're eligible for. Because when you get a Medicare Advantage plan, people say, oh, it's a zero premium. So that's awesome. It's not costing me anything. No, it already cost you. All those decades you paid into FICA tax through your payroll tax. When you're working, that's where that money comes from. So you already paid for it. So get it. Just don't let the insurance company decide what they're going to get for you, give you. You paid for all that. They're not giving you anything for free. They're just giving you your money back. So let's make sure you get all the money back you possibly can. All right, number 3, stimulus. No stimulus. Okay, number 4. So yeah, a lot of social media people out there. I did a video on this a couple of days ago. there's no stimulus on the horizon yet. There's always talk about stimulus because people want the clickbait and, talk about updates, and there's no stimulus. There's, as of right now, what is this? August 25th, 3:05 p.m. West Coast time, no stimulus. Don't believe it. It ain't there. Okay. Number 4, Social Security checks. If you are one of the very, very few people getting Social Security checks, an actual check, a paper check, then that's going to be going away. So about 95% of people get their Social Security checks direct deposited. So if you're not one of those, you need to figure out what to do. So you need to call Social Security and tell them what your new bank deposit, your routing number and your account number is and stuff like that. There are exceptions. On the Social Security website, there is a link to the Department of Treasury where you can ask for an exception. So if you live way out in the desert, way out in the country, and you just can't get it, and you got to have that check, you got to have that paper check, you can actually ask for an exception. And they were going back and forth. Doge is doing all this. And they keep going back and forth on so many different things. You have to go down to the local Social Security office and show your ID. We're going to hold back 100% if you have an overpayment. We're going to do this. And then within a few weeks, they backtrack and change their mind because between you and me, they just don't know what they're doing. But they were supposed to backtrack on this check thing. They were talking about backtracking. So as of right now, again, August 25th, 3:07 p.m. West Coast time, checks are no longer going to be sent out starting the end of September. Okay. But one of the things that people don't realize, if for some reason you don't get your check, I mean, a paper check or a direct deposit because the bank messes up, or you give Social Security the wrong routing number, or Social Security types in the wrong routing number, and you don't get your check, your direct deposit, you can go down to the local Social Security office and ask for an IP, an immediate payment. So, but you have to provide some type of proof that you're about to be evicted, or they're going to shut your electricity off or something like that. And then Social Security will write you a check. I've done this tens of thousands of times when I ran my office. They will write you a paper check. It doesn't look like the Statue of Liberty, the regular Department of Treasury. It's a different type of check. But they will write you a check for how much you were supposed to get. And that way you can go pay your rent and all that kind of stuff. So it's called an immediate payment, but they're very, very particular on, it has to be an emergency type thing. If it's not an emergency type thing, they'll just say, okay, we'll tell the Department of Treasury to go ahead and rerun the direct deposit with the updated information. But if you need the money right now, then you have that available. Okay. Number 5, we're going through these quickly because we want to get to as many live questions as possible. The Social Security 800 number. It's AI now. So if you've called Social Security, you lost your check, you want to file, you want to start your benefits, you lose a spouse, you want to file for disability, you want to change your address, whatever the case may be, you have to deal with artificial intelligence. And it ain't there yet. I called a bunch of times, asked a bunch of questions, and it just keeps repeating the stuff, and it's a nightmare. And the unfortunate part is the commissioner, who is a Doge guy, uses that as proof that everything is awesome. So you call Social Security and you get this AI and you say, I want to talk about ducks, and they start talking about aardvarks, and you get frustrated and you just hang up. I guess the powers that be at Social Security are considering you were satisfied. You hung up. So I guess you got your question answered about ducks. And so they're taking that as positive, and hey, our systems are doing really, really good. People are happy with it. They're getting their, no, you're not, they're just giving up. So it's unfortunate. All right. So you just have to persevere. And I'm going to be doing a coming video on that because we're towards the end of the year. September is upon us. And this is the time of the year where a lot of people make mistakes. A lot of people make mistakes in terms of filing for benefits. They are missing benefits. They file at the wrong time. They don't know about protective filing. So within the next 2 or 3 days, I'm going to do a video on that. So if you're looking to file for benefits between now and December, or even January, February, you need to watch that video to make sure you don't lose money. And we'll go over that in the next 2 or 3 or 4 days. So make sure you subscribe, like, and all that stuff, and I'll go into quite a bit of detail on that. Medicaid. You've heard about Medicaid being cut back, and a lot of people say, well, I'm not receiving Medicaid, so it doesn't affect me whatsoever. It's going to affect everybody. The entire healthcare system in America has always been kind of, hanging on the cliff. And this is the thing that's going to push it over when you got millions of people that are going to lose their health insurance. And not only for Medicaid, but the Affordable Care Act marketplace as well. Millions of people. That's everybody admits that millions of people are going to lose it. Some people say, well, it's people that don't deserve it. Not so, unless the big beautiful bill also, through some miraculous DNA research or whatever the case may be, CRISPR or whatever, they have solved illnesses, people are still going to get sick. And unless the big beautiful bill has somehow figured how to prevent people from getting into accidents, people are still going to get into accidents. They're still going to get sick, and they get into accidents, and they're going to get hurt. And if they don't have health care and go to their primary, whatever the case may be, they're going to be going to the emergency room when it gets very, very bad. So hospitals are going to take the hit. Doctors are going to take the hit. And what do when they do? They don't cut it from the CEO's paycheck and say, well, yeah, we made a lot less money last year, so we're going to have to, instead of paying you $10 million, we're only going to pay you $9 million. No, they don't do that. Of course they don't do that. They're going to take it out of everybody else. So everybody's going to get an increase of premiums. You're going to have a lot more difficulty getting into the emergency room because that's going to be the old primary care physician like it used to be in the old days. So we're going to keep up on that. We're coming up with a platform. There's going to be a lot of people that lose their Medicaid that are eligible for that Medicaid, because a lot of states are going to be pushing people off of Medicaid because they just don't have the money, even if those people are eligible. How do they do that? They make it super, super difficult to keep Medicaid, to apply for Medicaid. But we're coming up with a solution to help people. So hopefully we're going to be able to help a lot of people going forward. That's in the process right now. So coming video, we're going to talk about in the next 3 or 4 days. I'm going to talk about people say, hey, immigrants, people here in this country illegally, millions of them are receiving Social Security benefits, and that's the problem with Social Security. I'm going to go through the entire process of all of the roadblocks, all of the prevention Social Security, Medicare, the Office of the Inspector General, Social Security employees put up for people to make sure if you're not in this country legally, you ain't getting those benefits. So unless you are Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, yeah, you're not getting benefits. People don't realize how difficult it is for people that are not in this country to get Social Security benefits. So yeah, I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to tell you probably 80% of the ways Social Security prevents those people from getting Social Security benefits. And I'm not going to tell you the other 20% because we don't want to give out all of the information, right? So, and then I'm going to talk about is again the protective filing. Those people that are going to be filing for benefits soon, losing that money. I'm going to be doing a video on spouses. Another video on spouses benefits, particularly for nursing homes. And then we're going to put together a video on spotting fraud, because there is fraud, waste, and abuse out there. Elon Musk and Doge did a terrible job finding it. They made a bunch of crazy allegations, but they really didn't find any. Social Security employees find fraud, waste, and abuse every single day. And we are going to help find fraud, waste, and abuse. And I'm going to give you all kinds of indicators on exactly how to do that. And so we're going to have the community out there spot people, but spot them correctly. And any other topics that you have, make sure you type them into chat or the comments if you're watching this or recording later. I do a video pretty much every day, and that's always my challenge. What am I going to talk about today? What am I going to talk about today? So if you've got some other topics you want to talk about, please, please, please bring them on, and I'd be more than happy to add them to a future video. All right, let's get into some questions. And live questions here. Let's see. How about inexpensive headphones for that? Okay, someone is, some people are having private conversations during this thing, and it's just beautiful. We've got an awesome community like that. Can you just call Social Security and request for a representative? if you get through the AI, that's the problem. I went in there, I called and I said, hey, I have overpayment. So I guess the AI heard the word overpayment. So it gave me a big, long 2-minute speech about overpayments. And I said, well, I want to talk to a representative about an overpayment. And then it started the cycle again because I said the word overpayment. So it said it again. And then it said, basically, now you can just hang up because we've all solved all your questions. I'm like, I want to speak to, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It's just not there yet. So, and you should be able, and this is what I'm going to be talking about for those people that are going to be filing benefits this year, starting their benefits, Social Security, retirement, disability, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, Medicare, that there's going to be a lot of people losing benefits because of AI, because of this nightmare. And I'm going to teach you all kinds of internal tricks on how to make sure that doesn't happen. So. Let's see, Highway Joe, I turned 62 in December 2025. When can I file to get Social Security? Social Security number? SSN, that's a Social Security number. Hopefully you already have a Social Security number, but you mean Social Security benefits. If you turn 62 in December, unless you turn 62 the first of the month, you have to be 62 the entire month. So if you were born on December 1st, they consider you obtaining that age the day before. So that would be November 31st, the end of November. But if you weren't born on the 1st of December, then you'll have to wait till January. Your first benefit will start in January, and then Social Security pays the month late, so the January check comes in February. So if you're going to start your benefits in January, about 3 months before that, so we're talking about October, November, you can file online. But what I would do is prepare right now and set up a Social Security account, go into SSA.gov, set up a My Social Security account, and check your earnings record. And make sure your earnings record reflect everything you did in your work history. Make sure, every year that is in there, that's supposed to be in there, is in there, because that's how they're going to determine how much you're going to make for the rest of your life, is based on how much you actually paid in there. And if there's something missing, you need to start getting that documentation so you could prove it. So it's very, very important. And then you need to make sure you're filing for the, the right benefits. And then we're doing a video tomorrow on burial insurance final expense. I've got a guest speaker who's going to be talking about some of the fine print out there to watch out for. And then I'll either talk about how difficult it is for illegal immigrants to receive benefits, or I'll do the for those people filing. So this week I'll do a video more detailed to make sure you're doing the right thing. So make sure you watch that in the next few days. I leave my number so they can call me back at the Social Security office. Yeah, that's a new system they just started recently. You can leave your number. I've heard sometimes they do, sometimes not so much. So, hi, enjoy your show. Your volume has been very low. I have to turn up really high to hear your show. Wonder what's going on there. Let me check my volume here real quick and see what's going on. I think I check it pretty much every day, but you never know. Okay, all right. So I turned it up a little bit there. Hopefully we can check. Can you change your federal taxes for Social Security benefits online? That is the W-4V, the voluntary tax withholding. So they were supposed to add it online. I know you can call the 800 number again. You have to deal with AI. I don't think you can change it online yet. They've brought it out sometimes and then they shut it down, and they're still playing with it online. You can definitely check to see if it's up again. But so that's if you want federal taxes, the IRS to take money out of your Social Security check. And you can request either, like the numbers are 7%, 15%, 22% taken out. And people always ask, how much did I get taken out? That's between you and your tax professional. But you can change that every year. So you can just kind of, when you first start your benefits, if you want taxes to be taken out, you just kind of guesstimate, your tax person guesstimate. And then if it's too little or too much, then in January, February, then you can adjust it again. So you can adjust it every year if you want. So don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, please. Hopefully the volume improved a little bit there. So I applied for SSDI. This is live. So that's proof. I am not an AI. This is live. We're actually talking to human beings here. This is what we do. I applied for SSDI in 2014 and was denied in 2016. I appealed and went before an administrative law judge and panel by myself in 2017. It was approved some of my benefits. Oh, awesome. So there, me till that. Thank you for providing that proof. If you disagree with a decision that Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, any government agency, Medicare Advantage plan, if you disagree with a decision they make, fight it. Fight it all the way, exactly like he or she did there. And I have got, if you go onto my website, mygovexpert.com there, you click on more. This is all free. The only thing that we charge for is my Jackson. She's a retired Social Security employee, and she does private 30-minute calls. So if you want to talk to someone privately, I used to do these, but I just got too busy. So she was nice enough to start doing these. She charges for that, but other than that, everything is free. Let's see. So the appeals. It tells you exactly what the appeals is. So me till went to level 1, filed the reconsideration, went to level 2, the administrative law judge, and did all that thing and got approved. But you said you got approved for some of your benefits. So I guess the judge possibly didn't go back as far. So like you applied in 2014, and so you're saying, hey, you should pay me all the way back to 2014, and I'm figuring they didn't do that. They went back to maybe 2016 or a year before that or something like that. So you can even fight that. If you get approved at the administrative law judge phase and you're like, okay, great, you approved me finally, it took forever, but that's great. But you should have actually went back however many months or years prior to that. You can request an appeal for that. But cautionary tale, sometimes, doesn't happen very often, but sometimes you have to take the risk that if you appeal after you've been approved, if you appeal something like that and another judge looks at it, because that's what happens, another judge will look at it, and that other judge says, no, this person shouldn't have been approved at all, you might lose everything. So you have to be very, 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 very careful. So yes, see, I know exactly, but not for the 2 years of back pay from the first date I applied. See, that's what happens when you do this a million times. You can tell what people are asking before they ask it. So they were not looking for fraud, waste, and abuse. Yes, Elon Musk was obviously not. Yeah, he just kept. I can understand him not understanding what this database, the NUMI database, is what he was looking at. Those millions of people that are over 120 years old. When you first look at that, you have that reaction. He had a natural reaction, but then I'm sure someone at Social Security said, explain that to him, and he should have came out and said, oh, okay, I misinterpreted the database, because he's a computer guy. He started eBay. He should have, but he hasn't come clean. So please, Elon Musk, come onto my show and come clean. Come onto my show and come clean about the 40% people calling in are fraud. Come into my show and come clean about, non-citizens receiving Social Security numbers. Like you received, non-citizens receive Social Security numbers. It's called a green card. Yeah. So anyway, come on, Elon. If anybody knows Elon, tell him to come onto my show and come clean. Be a man. So how does protective filing help or hinder people on the SSDI that got Social Security but found that their diagnosis was changed to a diagnosis not on the medical file? Doesn't matter what your diagnosis is. Yeah, it doesn't. If you were approved for disability, you were approved for disability. In terms of the approval. So whether you're because when you file for disability benefits, I always recommend, and I've done a few videos on, tips, tricks, and secrets about filing. You put down your main thing, but sometimes your main disability alone doesn't, qualify. But if you put that and this other thing and this other thing and the side effects of the medication that help you with this other thing, you put all those together and it's the preponderance of the evidence. And then, so sometimes they pick something, out of that list that you don't think is the main thing, but it's the thing that they used. So it's not you got approved. But in terms of the CDRs, the continuing disability review, 3, 4, 5 years later, when they review to see if you're still medically, disabled, at that time say, hey, by the way, this was always my main thing. I understand you, listed, because they list all of the issues in order, and they might have, put the order differently than what you thought, but it's usually just a typing thing. But the only time it will be an issue is when you come up with a CDR. And my new platform that we're coming up with, that's going to help people navigate the CDR too. So make sure you subscribe. And once we get it set up, then it's going to help people navigate the whole continuing disability review nightmare. So time travel, we need the Social Security Expansion Act bill to be passed. I agree, time travel. Please travel in time and get that fixed. So yeah, that's the one that Bernie Sanders says that FICA cap should be eliminated essentially, and people that make millions of dollars should pay the same percentage that we do, but they don't. And it also expands Social Security benefits for those people that really need it. An extra $200 a month, $2,400 a year. So that could make a big difference in people's lives. So, hey, Grandma, I'm having trouble with California correcting mistakes on applications. Misspelled name, address was wrong. I went into the office to apply. Misspelled the name and the address. So your name yourself, so that's, if they misspell your name on the application, then that's a reflection of your numident, that record that Elon Musk kept incorrectly looking at. That's your Social Security number. So whatever your Social Security card, your most recent one says, that's the one that's on your application. And if that's wrong, then all you have to do is just update your Social Security card. And how do you do that? You get an SS5, download an SS5, fill it out with your new name, proof that, this is the actual spelling, and that'll update everything in the system. So you won't get a new Social Security number or anything like that. It just updates your name or the spelling of your name or whatever. So when people get married or divorced or something like that and they change their name, they have to apply for that new Social Security card. Again, you still get the same Social Security number unless you're on like witness protection or something, but you still get the Social Security, the same Social Security number and everything. They just update your name or the spelling of the name. So. And in terms of the address, when you go down there and update your social, because if your name, the spelling has changed, then you are going to have to go down there and provide some type of proof of the different name spelling, maybe your birth certificate or a marriage or something like that. And then when you go down there, just update your address at the same time. So, yeah, now with, Doge and Elon Musk, essentially vacating, firing, laying off, whatever, thousands of people from Social Security, it's hard to get into Social Security offices now. But if it's a dire need type situation, you tell them, hey, this is, my bank isn't accepting the checks because it's in a different name. It's misspelled wrong. I'm worried about, not getting mail. I need to get this fixed immediately. So you just tell the guard when you go in there that it's a dire need case, then, because the guards are not Social Security employees. They are hired, they're contracted by Federal Protective Services. So you just, their job is to take orders, and whatever Doge tells them, that's what they do. But there are exceptions, dire need exceptions, that you just tell them, and you should be able to get in. In future episodes, can you please elaborate on how to move abroad and keep benefits secured? I actually have a website. On my website, if again, mygovexpert.com, you click on that and you click on the little thing that says living overseas, and it has everything in there about eligibility for citizens, reporting requirements, getting Social Security disability overseas, Medicare coverage overseas, banking consideration, additional resources, all that good stuff. So it has it in there. I've done a few videos on living overseas because, yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing, becoming expats, moving overseas because it's just too expensive to live in the United States nowadays. So it seems to be a popular thing. Jenny, I was in the Social Security office this morning and the lady I spoke to wouldn't tell me what percentage I was getting in divorced spouse benefits. Married 32 years, divorced 2006, FRA 66. Probably because you just walked in and you're just talking to a CSR, customer service representative, and they're not Title II of the Social Security Act, which I was before I became a manager. That's the people that actually, the experts that do that. So the person at the front window just, didn't know. If you wait for divorce spouse benefits, if you wait till your full retirement age, it'll be 50%. Pretty easy. So, and then on my website, guess what? You click on family and it clicks up spouse benefits there. And guess what? I have a spouse benefit calculator. So it's right there. You can check it out. But yeah, if you wait until your full retirement age, it is, you get 50% of that person's full benefit amount. So, as a tech guy. Okay. As a tech guy, please don't call the phone system at SSA and I. All it does is remove the press the number if with translate on our voice instead of us pressing numbers to get to a prompt if it's not true AI. Okay. All right. I'm 60 years old, had a stroke back in June 2024, was told I need CE exams, one for mental and physical. If both are approved, when can I expect my SSDI to start? 3 years. So a CE is consultative exam. So you were told you need a CE exam. So that's basically because the DDS, the Disability Determination Service, the state agency that's making that decision, looked at your records and they just didn't have enough medical information in your records to prove, whatever. So they need a second opinion or whatever. So they want you to see a Social Security contracted doctor with hopefully with those specialties. So you definitely, please don't miss that appointment. If you miss that appointment, they can deny you. So you have to make sure you get that appointment. Do everything you possibly can to make sure you get that appointment, to make that appointment. And then both are approved. It still takes, unfortunately, a while because, the entire infrastructure of Social Security and all this has been ransacked and, so it's taken everything longer than expected, unfortunately. But June 2024, usually it takes, 6 to 9 months. If you're lucky, you're way beyond that. And wow, you're on your initial. This is not a reconsideration. This is an initial. Yeah, that one, that's unacceptable. That's taking way too long. Yeah, I shouldn't. If you're on your initial, so you weren't denied or anything. This is you filed, the very first time you filed was in June 2024, and now it's August, and they're just now scheduling a consultative exam. That's unacceptable in any way you slice it. So definitely keep it, but I think it might be time to call your representative whose responsibility is to get you that service that you paid for. Because when you paid your FICA all those decades, you paid for someone to help you in these situations. But the Congress refuses to give that money to Social Security, those resources to Social Security so they can help you. So you need to contact them and say, hey, this is unacceptable. What can you do to expedite my case? Because a year, that's just way too long. So if you were denied once and you're filing a reconsideration, then I could see that. But if this is an initial claim, then no, unacceptable. I turned 66 beginning of February, sole proprietor, and make under 20K on Schedule C, 2,600 if I take it and 2,800 if I wait for a year. The money would help. What should I do? I might live till the 80th. Yeah, it's completely up to you. You're a sole proprietor, you make under 20K, so that's what they look at. Because you're under your full retirement age, it's $23,400 in terms of wages or net income from business. So yeah, if you need the money, then you need the money. And it doesn't sound like it's a work issue. They're not going to be holding back anything because you're going to be under your, the annual earnings limit. So that's not an issue. Um, so yeah, you need to, figure out your health and your longevity. Do you have anybody that's waiting on you to file for benefits, like kids or a spouse or something like that? That's a different consideration too. But if you go into my website, I've thought about that too. When to start. There's a little calculator there. These are all 100% free. You can do a little calculator and play around with the numbers there. And then it gives you, some of the things about when you should start, some question and answers there about when to start some benefits. But nobody can tell you unless they ask you a whole bunch of questions and, figure out what your situation is. You see all these people on social media saying, hey, you're stupid if you don't file for benefits at 62, or you're stupid if you don't wait till 67 or 70. And I would argue that all those people that say that across the board are stupid because it's really depends on your situation. Is Medicare Advantage and supplemental insurance the same? Yes and no. Original Medicare has Part A and Part B, and you can supplement that because there's a lot of gaps in original Medicare, a lot of gaps. And to fill those gaps, you get a supplement. So they're both kind of supplements. Let me find my little slide here. So there's a bunch of gaps. You got a deductible for Part A. The big one is this coinsurance for Part B. There's a 20% coinsurance. So if the doctor gives you a $100,000 Band-Aid, you have to pay $20,000 out of pocket because you have a 20% coinsurance. So you get something to supplement Part A and Part B. But to supplement, then you have two options. You get a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan, also called a Medigap plan because it fills in the gaps. So in that respects, they're two different. So I always recommend checking out Medicare supplement plans because there's a lot of people out there, agents, that everybody makes more money. The agents, the health insurance company, everybody makes more money when you sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan. It's crazy. Even though it's zero premium, they make more money. So that's why a lot of people kind of direct you to Medicare Advantage because they make more money. But you should always check out Medicare supplements first because there's no prior authorizations, no networks. But because there's a monthly premium, it might not be ready. It might not be the best for you because of your budget, but at least check it out. Because sometimes if you're sick, then it's actually cheaper. Or if you're going to be sick, which we don't know, right? So check out Medicare supplement plans first when you talk about signing up for Medicare, and then say, okay, all right, I know what Medicare supplement plan is, a plan G, a plan N, yada, yada, yada. Now tell me about Medicare Advantage. And they'll tell you about the Medicare Advantage plan. And then you decide, oh, I want, I'm a truck or a car person. I'm a dog or a cat person. I'm a supplement or a Medicare Advantage person. And then you can make the decision. But at least you've got all the information to make a good decision for your particular case. So, and then once you choose a Medicare Advantage plan, when you're first eligible to choose at 65 or whatever, then after that, in most states, it's very difficult to switch unless you can pass health underwriting. So you want to make sure you make the best decision for yourself. And that's why we partnered up with Chapter. You can call them up and say, hey, let's talk. What should I do? What's available in my area? How much is this? What's the benefit of that? And so they'll go through everything. So, okay, yeah, so I already answered that one. I took early retirement 2 years for medical issue. Oh, okay. If you took early retirement because of a medical issue, because you were disabled, not able to work because of that, should you have filed for disability instead of early retirement? Because disability is not reduced because you take it early. So Elon Musk won't come onto your podcast because he is busy trying to get his rockets from blowing up. He's been pretty successful, but yeah, sometimes they blow up. But yeah, and he's a man about that. He says, yeah, sometimes they blow up, and yeah, you just got to keep trying. So that's good. All right, so same thing with Social Security, Sometimes you think this and you find out after evaluation, the scientific method, that it's wrong. And then you say, oh, I was wrong. Let's try something else. But he hasn't. Yeah. So, Dr. Ed, I have Part A only. When can I file for Part B? Anytime you want. If you want it, start the Part B, $185. That is if the reason you refused Part B was because you had health insurance from work. Yours or your spouse's and your employer had, 20 or more employees. And so that's why you refused Part B. And now you want to start Part B because you want to start it, even though you do have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, or you're about to lose it. And then you have a special enrollment period. And then on my website, I have the information on special enrollment period. You have 8 months after you lose your health insurance from work, current work, to sign up. So you're in a special enrollment period. Enrolling after losing a job, you just have to fill out a couple of forms there, one to actually sign up, and then one to avoid that penalty because you didn't sign up initially. But you don't get a penalty if you had health insurance from work. So, yep, you can. If you didn't have health insurance from work and you just refused Part B just because, then you can't sign up until January, February, March. So there's that. Let's see here. Is it true that we're getting $600 stimulus checkout or something to that effect? A chance? No. That's $6,000. Some people are thinking that's a stimulus. That's the election promise that the president made that there are no taxes on Social Security. That didn't happen. There is a $6,000 deduction people can take if you're over 65. So if you make $100,000, you can deduct $6,000. So you only have to pay taxes on $94,000, and that's pretty much it. So some people misinterpret that as some type of stimulus, but it ain't. Yeah. So there is no stimulus check. No stimulus check. I wish those people in social media would stop talking about it because people think it's coming and they depend on it. And then they call it, what's worse is they call up Social Security and say, hey, where's my stimulus check? And that ruins it for everybody that's trying to get in there and actually get help. So it slows down everything. So people on social media, stop it. Please stop it. I'm 66 years old and 10 months will be November and still working. When should I apply for full benefit amount payment? So November, yeah, you start it now. Most important thing, again, SSA.gov, set up a My Social Security account and check your earnings record. Start checking out your earnings record to make sure everything is correct. And then you can file online. Everything is correct. Make sure you're filing for the correct benefits. And you're not entitled to any spouse benefits or surviving spouse benefits or anything like that. And so you're 66 and 10 months soon. If you already filed for Medicare, just Part A or Part A and Part B, then to start your money benefits is super, super easy because you're already in the system. You're already in the claims path, as Social Security employees say it. You're in MCS claims path. And it's super, super easy to turn on money because you've already done the difficult part of getting everything established when you signed up for Medicare. If you haven't signed up for Medicare because you're going to continue to work, then when you file for your money benefits, then you have to sign up for Part A. You have to sign up for Part A. That's zero premium anyway, but you can still continue to decline Part B. You don't have to take Part B. So you can say, okay, starting November, I want my money and I want Part A. I don't want it, but I have to take it. So I guess Part A. Money, Part A. I don't want Part B because I'm working. I have health insurance from my work or my spouse's work, and our employer has 20 or more employees, yada, yada, yada. Next year, 3 years, 10 years from now, I will sign up for Part B, but I don't want to waste my $185. So just give me my money and Part A. So, and that's it. Oh, wow, that is wonderful. I was thinking of leaving the USA. Yeah. Let's see. I'm 63 and currently receiving SSI retirement. You mean Social Security, not SSI. SSI is a welfare-based program. You're thinking just regular Social Security. What happens if I decide to go back to work and make 3 times the maximum limit per year. Will they cancel my retirement benefits? No, they won't cancel it. They will just take out $1 for every $2 you go over. So make sure you contact Social Security and say, hey, I'm going to be making way over the 23,400. I'll make this amount. And then what they do is they stop your checks, suspend your checks. You're still technically getting it, but they're just suspended. So you're still eligible and in the system, you're just not getting that check. And then what happens is once you turn, where in the world are Tony and Marie? Okay, in Egypt, it looks like, or the Luxor in Las Vegas. That's not black. Anyway, so once you hit your full retirement age, so if you're getting benefits for a while and then all of a sudden you suspend your benefits and you're not receiving those benefits, your benefit amount is reduced because you started early, okay? But then if you suspend your benefits, you don't get those months. So what they do is when you turn your full retirement age, they add those months in there and they unreduce your benefit, and that's 100% automatic. So when you restart your benefits at your full retirement age, it's not going to be the same reduced benefit you're receiving now. It'll be higher based on how many months you didn't get a check. That's 100% automatic. So Kathy, my aunt died on her birthday, August 9th, 2025. The government immediately took back her benefit for August. Is her spouse eligible for the August payment? No. I thought the August payment is for July. Correct. So she, oh, wait a second. Okay, wait a second. So yes, so she, the check she got in August was for July. So she was entitled to the July check she got in August, but the August check, which she's not entitled to, that would come in September. So usually the system is automatic and the Department of Treasury does the right thing. So maybe somewhere along the line, someone put down that she passed away in July, because yeah, she should get that check. And unless something happened, they closed down the account or something like that. Usually it's, yeah, the Department of Treasury has a system. As soon as the coroner, coroner or the funeral home submits it to the state notifies Social Security, the Social Security notifies Department of Treasury of when the person passed away. Yeah, they'll immediately go in there, yank that check. But if it was the check, yeah, for July, they shouldn't have taken that back. So I would contact them and find out what's going on. That doesn't sound right. Something, and it's an automated system, so I've never really seen it make a mistake if everything is input correctly. So someone just didn't put something in correctly. So I would definitely call him up and find out where that last check is, because that's his. So no, I found, and once you're, okay, so let's see. If you're SSDI, are you considered to be at FRA? Yeah, pretty much. If you're receiving Social Security disability insurance, your benefit amount is as if you waited till your full retirement age. But people are yelling at the TV and say, no, that's not correct. I've started receiving benefits at 55, and according to my earnings record, it said I would receive this amount when I turn full retirement age. That's because they project forward. So if you file for benefits at 55 for disability benefits and you're approved, you're not going to get what it says on your statement at your full retirement age, because on your statement on SSA.gov, when you look at that at 55, it projects forward 12 years. And it says, okay, if you continue working over the next 12 years, here's how much you will get when you reach 67, 12 years from now. And because you don't have those 12 years of earnings, you're not going to get that because you started at 55. But your benefit is not reduced because you start early. Disability benefits are not reduced simply because you start early. So it's your full benefit amount, but not the one you see on your earnings record. So someone has to be alive for the entire month in order to be eligible. Correct. But they were alive the entire month of July, so they should have received that July check, which came in August. So something is not right there. My question, next year when I turn 66 in November, can I start my Social Security on my own record in January and keep working and earn 60,000 without a penalty? Can I, so next year when I turn 66, now you have to be 66 in probably 10 months, 8 months, or 67. It depends. If you were born in 1960 or after, then your full retirement age is 67. So the year you turn your full retirement age. So if next year you turn 66 in November, then your full retirement age is not until 2027. So that year, yes, I see where you're going there. The year you turn your full retirement age, it's no longer 23,400. It's the 62,160. Well, that's what it is this year. You know, that time it'll be 65 or 66 or whatever. So, so it's only the year you turn your full retirement age is when the annual earnings limit goes up to, you know, over 60,000. So, can someone with ESRD apply for Medicare with very little work history? You still have to be qualified. But for disability, the younger you are, you don't necessarily need the 10 years of work history because, you know, people, you know, 24, 25 years old, working their butts off, and then something happens, they get, you know, accident or something, get sick, and obviously, you know, they didn't pay into the system for 10 years. So the younger you are, the less quarters of coverage you need. So it really depends on your age. Asking for a friend. There we go. That's what we like to hear. People helping each other out. Asking for a friend. Can she stop her SSI if she has been getting it more than 10 years? You can stop anything, basically. Yeah, if she's receiving SSI, the welfare-based program, and she wants to go back to work or something, or she got a bunch of money because SSI is a welfare-based program and she knows that she can't get it anymore because she's going to be getting an inheritance or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you just contact Social Security and say, thanks, but no thanks. If you're already getting Social Security at age 71, will those people get an added boost? No. If you're already getting benefits at 71 or 81 or 91, the only time you'll get a boost is COLA. Or if you're working and paying more into Social Security and that's one of your high 35 years, then yes. So keep encouraging people to create a My Social Security account. You don't need to wait to be retired or disabled. And once you are, all sorts of messages, documents can be found there. Yes, Steve, exactly, 100%. It doesn't matter how old you are, because people they're losing tens of hundreds of millions of dollars because they didn't check their earnings record throughout their life. And then when they go to file at 62 or 67 or whatever, they say, oh, when I was 35 years old, I worked for this company, but those earnings aren't in there. And at that time, it's almost impossible to prove, very, very difficult. And so you just lost that money. So everybody should check their earnings record once a year or once every couple of years. And if you see a mistake, get it fixed. So tell everybody, I don't care how old you are, get it fixed. So, let's see. I get ready to retire now at 68 and continue working several months. Will the amount adjust to would I receive wait to retire? Okay. Not sure. If I get my retirement at 68 and continue, if you're at 68 years old and you're working, Social Security doesn't care. You can make $1 billion a month and Social Security doesn't care in terms of how much you make because you're past your full retirement age. So no relevance whatsoever. Medicare, you might get charged an extra premium for Medicare. And if you're making $1 billion a month, Social Security will probably increase. Because you're paying more. All right, we've only got one video question. It's actually not a video question. Someone left an audio question. So let's see what we have here. Just a blank screen.
I've got a lot here, Dr. Ed, and thank you so much for your time. My husband filed for his retirement Social Security in April since he was turning 65 this year in July. On June 5th, we got a benefit verification letter. June 10th, notice of award. July 5th, need more info, and we discovered he was put on disability instead of retirement. July 10th, he received a notice that his benefits were reduced by about $700. Then we got another letter on July 30th, benefit verification letter, discontinuation of disability Social Security in 2008 when he was on permanent total disability, but we got him back to work in the interim. And then another discontinuation of dependent as he was a child of a disabled worker in 1971. He went off that. He got another one on.
Okay, I know what's happening here. You've got someone on the other side that the claim specialist that took your claim um, doesn't really okay, doesn't really know what they're doing, it sounds like. Anytime, so, and this is unfortunate, offices throughout the country, they lost their experts. When Elon Musk decided to, get rid of people, they forced people into early retirement, people that didn't want to retire, like the person that helps if you want a one-on-one call, Mai Jackson. She was one of those people. And she loved working for the agency, and she was doing a phenomenal job, and she was essentially pushed out, and people throughout the country. And so offices are losing real good expertise because of it. So we've got, sometimes stupid stuff is happening. I think this is that. Anytime you go in, a Social Security employee goes in and works on your husband's record and does stuff, and what we call is adjudicate the claim by pushing the final enter button after they've done this, that, and the other, they made this change. What happens is, and the Social Security employee can't do anything about this. They push that final button to correct something, and then automatically a letter goes out. So they have no choice. If something is messed up because the person was on disability before, and so this got messed up, and so they need to do a manual action to do this and correct this, and they needed to do 2 or 3 steps in order to get to the correct thing. They have to do this one, push the button, do this one, push the button, do this one, push the button. And every time they push that final button, a letter goes out that says, here's what happened. And then another one goes out, here's what happened, here's another. And those 3 letters or something are just, ignore. That's just part of the process. But the problem is sometimes one letter gets to you earlier, and you don't know what sequence or whether you're set up right. So in your particular case, you just need to contact the office, and I would probably see if there's what's called a Title II TE, a Title II technical expert still left in that office, and say, hey, I received a whole bunch of letters, and I know they're, conflicting and stuff, and so I know the process, but I want to find out, I want to check out my MBR and make sure my MBR, say stuff like that. I want a Title II TE to go over my MBR and make sure I'm in the, everything is correct. And then if you say stuff like that, they'll say, okay, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about, so we can't pull the wool over their eyes. And then the Title II TE, if there's still one in that office, will look at it and make sure everything in the final analysis was set up correctly. So it probably is, because I know exactly what they were trying to get to. Ultimately, they should have done it a different way. I would have done it a different way, but I guess the person didn't know all the tricks. So yeah, just reach out to them, and Title II TE, evaluate the MBR and make sure it's set up correctly. So just tell them exactly like that. Back to the HSA plan. If working, turning 65 on an HSA plan and do not plan to enroll in Medicare so I can continue to contribute, will I have to pay a Part D penalty later when I do enroll? Well, if you have health insurance from current work, and it's creditable coverage, so yeah, you don't get penalized for Part B or Part D. So if you have health insurance creditable coverage from work, then you don't get a penalty whatsoever. When you stop working and stop receiving health insurance from work, then you have 8 months to go ahead and sign up. If you don't, then you could very well, yeah. Will those who are already getting Social Security get a boost in their checks in September? No. Well, there are some people that will people that worked last year, and that's one of their high 35 years of earnings. So sometimes it does take a while to hit you. But if that's not you, then no. Sharon, you have 12 months in which to stop your benefits and you must repay everything that you have drawn so far. Penelope. Okay, I'm sorry. I was questioning. And then I saw Penelope. Penelope, I'm almost sure, is a former Social Security employee, and she's always right. Yeah, she's talking about a withdrawal. If you file for benefits, almost had a Texas accent, a withdrawal. So if you file for benefits and you change your mind within 12 months, you can withdraw that application, but you also have to pay back all that money, because when you withdraw, it's like you never filed. So we haven't seen you in a while there, Penelope. How you doing? I am under the impression we pay for those rockets. Wealthy get rich by using other people's. Yes. Let's see. Let me find some new people that I haven't seen before. Gemini to Butterfly. Yes, this is my initial not recon. My stroke was on. Okay. Oh, okay. You're the one that filed back in June of last year. You filed in October though, but still that doesn't make a difference. It's September basically. Yeah, no, that's way too long. So, and you have a couple of consultative exams. So I would definitely, after you have the consultative exam, does it take 3 to 4 years? No, absolutely not. But you've already waited way too long anyway. It's unfortunate. That's the nature of the beast right now. But go to the consultative exams. Be honest. Don't try to be tough. A lot of people go these consultative exams, and people try to be tough and say, I'm on disability, but I can do this, and it's, you can't really. But you try to put on a tough, but no, just be 100% honest and tell them, why you're not able to work. And remember this, when you're filing for disability, everybody can work. I don't care who you are, unless you're in a coma, you can work. Whether you can keep that job for more than 5 minutes, that's the issue. So if you're, bedridden or whatever, and you can, Stephen Hawking type, you can work. You can find a job, but there's a very good chance you're not going to keep it for 5 or 10 minutes, because, you just take too long, and, or you have to go to the bathroom several times, every single, 3 times an hour, stuff like that. So anybody can get a job. So people think, oh, I can get a job. Well, almost everybody can get a job, but because of your disability, can you keep it for more than an hour or a day or a week or something like that? That's the issue. So a lot of people say, they don't file for disability because I can get a job. Yes. We appreciate you trying to, push through it. An old Marine Corps sergeant gung ho. Yes. Walk it off type thing. But if you're not able to work because of your disability, and you pushing through it like that is making your health worse and cutting your life short, it's not worth it. You paid for disability all those decades. So get it. If you're not able to work because of a disability, be honest and go get it. It's yours. You paid for it. So, all right, we're over an hour. Let's get one last question here. I have a question about something. If I have been on SSI and SSDI since 2008, right before I turned 63, Social Security contacted me about filing on my ex-husband's, but I'm not getting what I should be. Okay, yes. Because you're getting SSI, you have to file for any other benefits you're eligible for. So you can get all 3 of those benefits, and 4 benefits, and 5 benefits. I'm going to do a video on that. It's going to be kind of a clickbait thumbnail, but it's going to be true. You can get 4 or 5 checks, because technically you're getting separate checks from different accounts. You're getting one from SSI. You're getting one from SSDI. That's a completely separate account. You could get benefits from an ex-husband, a divorced husband, or a deceased husband. You can get Medicare savings plan. So you're getting 2 checks, and you could conceivably, you just might be receiving 3 checks, but one offsets the other. You don't get the full 3 checks. So sometimes I do kind of a clickbaity title like that to get people interested, so they watch it and they think they're going to get 3 full checks, and that's not what they get. But people think, particularly on disability, that because they're getting disability benefits, they can't get anything else because they're receiving disability, or they can get something else, but because they're going to switch over to divorced spouse benefits or surviving spouse benefits, they're losing their disability and therefore they're losing their Medicare. And that's 100% incorrect. So there's a lot of people out there struggling. So yes, sometimes I do a thumbnail title that is true, but might not. Yeah. But anyway, so there's that. But if you disagree with the amount, so what happens is you're getting SSDI, that's your first benefit amount. And the second benefit amount would be benefits on your ex-husband. Okay. So let's say you're getting $300 from your own SSDI, and then you're eligible for $200 from your spouse, your ex-spouse. So that's $500. And then the max you can get on SSI is $967. So you're getting $200, $300, and then the difference, the $467 from SSI. So you're still getting total SSI of $967. It's just that part of that comes out of a different trust fund. The $467 comes out of general taxation. Everything else comes out of the Social Security Trust Fund. So you're getting actually 3 checks, but for you, you don't care because the maximum you're getting is still what you were getting before. So that's probably what's happening. So, but they have to do that to save general taxation. So the people in Vegas are nice, but don't get me started on casinos. Okay. Yes. All right. All right. We are way over time. I will be back again tomorrow. I'm going to have a guest speaker. We're going to talk about burial insurance, final expense. If you're interested in that, please join. And then I'll do one on immigrants. And for those people that are looking to file for benefits before the end of the year, some mistakes that people are making. And that's it. Y'all have an awesome day. And please, 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 please.